Slow. All my generals, all my lions, all my real men, all my queens, all my princesses, all my lionesses. Y'all already know what it is, man. It's Lions and Men. Hit that like, share, subscribe. We gonna get right into it, man. It's a lot of bonchinche, gossip, aka bullshit, floating around and smelling like bullshit on the internet. And it's funny to me though, because I see how people be jumping on other people's content and riding that wave. But I get that. That's basically how this shit is designed now. Whenever somebody comes out with any type of form of breaking news, those is gonna jump on that wave and like, oh, let me jump on that wave too. Or let me talk on that. That's something interesting. But that's a great thing because it just shows you that we doing good things. Lions and Men, we trendsetting. We doing things that they ain't talking about shit that other dudes, they talking about after. You feel me? But also on top of that, I'm starting to be more in tune with more YouTubers. Salute all the YouTubers and the bloggers out there. And I appreciate, and I'm seeing how, you know, they putting their content out there and how they approaching it, and it's very eye-opening, you know. And I see that, yeah, you know, we all have an opportunity to do great things. You know, some people are just gonna, you know, freestyle. Like every day is Freestyle Friday, but, you know, people like myself, and I feel that there's others out there, are gonna do their best to keep it a stack all day, every day. 10 toes down. Ooh, good segue to 10 toes down and Hassan Campbell. Like, to me, I never knew about any of these. I knew about Hassan Campbell. I never knew about 10 Toes Down until somebody else brought it to my attention. And I've seen a couple videos, one or two, and there were different topics. But, you know, I could see that I could definitely agree to disagree on a lot of the shit that I was hearing just on those two topics. I'm talking about with 10 Toes Down, but the same could be said with, you know, Hassan Campbell and his channel and his content. There's a lot of things sometimes that I agree with. There's a lot of times there's things that he says that I don't. You see, what we need to do is learn the difference of just listening to what you want to hear versus listening to what's a fact versus listening to what's reality. You know, and at the end of the day, never put blinders on unless you're a fucking horse. You don't need them. You need to be able to look left, look right, up, down. You feel me? So I say that to say this. Don't just watch your local news. As much as it may bother you and hurt you, watch a conservative network. I'm not saying watch Sean Hannity, but hey, maybe check out America's Newsroom on Fox when they have a Democrat or independent there speaking on the other the facts for the opposite side and presenting them, you know, greatly appreciate, like, you know, on some fire shit. But so I just got a text message and that shit threw me off. I apologize for that. So anyway, what were we talking about? So yeah, now the Hassan Campbell situation with 10 Toes Down. Hassan Campbell got beef with everybody, it looks like, right now. Everybody's coming at this nigga's head. Yo, the dude is like, I don't want to insult him and call him like the 6ix9ine of YouTube, because 6ix9ine is a rat, you feel me? And I don't want to attach that label to him. But outside of the rat shit, when it comes to the controversy, this dude Hassan Campbell is literally like the 6ix9ine of YouTube right now. And he be coming at, to his credit, he be coming at these dudes' heads. He ain't holding back, and he's coming at dudes that, you know what I mean, that there's rappers and shit like that. And, you know, I try to, like, you know, not try to come at niggas that I grew up listening to, you know what I mean, grew up like always like, yo, I fuck with son. Some music is official. He did a bit like, you know, I could relate to a lot of these hip hop artists in the industry. So, and then the ones that been doing it for a minute, I tend to, like, you know, maybe I'm a little biased. I don't really want to get on that type of time. But I know, yeah, there's always conversations about these rappers behind the scenes with the average Joes. Those conversations is always being had in barbershops in New York City, to the fucking yard in Attica, to the yard in Rikers Island, to the pizzeria on Fordham Row, to the Chinos on 183rd, to the Crowns on Jerome. Yo, bro, them conversations is being had about whether these rappers is really tough, like the way they be portraying themselves to be tough, like they really gangster, like they really portray themselves to be gangster, or they just entertainers in the streets. A lot of them is some lucky clover ass niggas, meaning they just lucky, they fortunate. You know, some people do have that. I think luck exists, bro. Like some people, I had bad luck, like a motherfucker. Like I had the worst luck ever. If luck didn't, what was the word I used to use? I forget how it was I used to say, but if it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have luck at all. Facts. That's how I used to feel, twin. Now it's different. It's changing. You know what I mean? And that's great. You know what I mean? I'm still young enough to enjoy, you know, somewhat 30, 40 years of my life. But if I live that long, God willing, you feel me? And maybe 50 years. I don't know how long, 60 years. Let's see what happens. They're going to probably have some pills that's going to have us, like, you know what I mean? Give us immunity to getting old. But yo, real talk, survival with the fittest, only the strong survive, man. There's a war going on inside no man is safe from. Inside no man is safe from. Salute the K-Flock again. You know, we ain't gonna beat this drum just to beat this drum, but I'm saying it to say this. Sometimes niggas need to hear it. Like, sometimes it's common sense. Sometimes you should already know. But if you really need to hear it, sometimes dudes need to hear it. All right, you can hear it. You want to survive in prison and you gangbanging? You know how you survive in prison and you gangbanging? You bang the hardest, or do your best to bang the hardest, to keep all these other motherfuckers at bay. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. I'll give you a perfect example. Now listen, before I give you a perfect example, let me give you the dark side of that, the flip side of the coin to that. Because when you bang the hardest, guess what? It's a possibility you're gonna make that bed real extra long. You're gonna add an extendo to that glizzy. Pause. Yo, nigga said, yo, ketchup, mayo, relish, all that on that glizzy, son. Cause at the end of the day, yeah, you're gonna end up catching a charge. You're gonna end up being in the box. Now, you can't get away with a lot of shit. I got away with a lot of shit. But I caught charges too. You know what I'm saying? I got caught lacking. And I started being lucky. I started being lucky too. Maybe the luck has to do with the guardian angel. I don't know. But, you know, it's shit that I did that if I would have got caught, I probably still would have been in there right now, bro. Or at least did a whole extra, like, fucking a lot more years, you know. So I was fortunate to get away with a lot of shit, you know. But I ain't do 20 years, 25 years. I ain't do that. I mean, I did a lot of time, don't get it twisted. I mean, I did 12 years, bro. That's a lot of time. But at the end of the day, my mindset was different from the mindset of a nigga that's doing natural life, or a dude that just copped out to a body and is doing 25 flat, or 25 to life, or anybody that's doing more numbers than me. I had dudes tell me, "Oh, Chulo, you short?" I'm like, "Short, nigga? I'm doing 12 years. Fuck you mean I'm short?" He said I'm short because I got locked up when I was 20s and he knew I was gonna come home when I was 30s, and he still was gonna be in there. And he still is. Salute to the Rat Hunter Blackie, man. A stand-up guy, man. So salute to my twin Blackie, Rat Hunter. But at the end of the day, that's how you survive when you banging. You gotta bang the hardest, twin. And then after, you know, you put some work in, it should get to the point where you don't even have to put work in now. A lot of times you're going to be able to be put in a position where the shooters is going to have to prove themselves and they put the work in for you. It's just a fact, man. It was to the point, like, I mean, unless you're going to take it to the level where it gets fun to you and you like hurting people, you like cutting, and you like stabbing, and you like assaulting, and you like doing everything that criminals and gang members do in prison. But that also always can lead you back to the box one more time, man. But yo, I ain't gonna lie. That's the number one option for you when you go upstate, that is, because you ain't going nowhere on the island. I'm talking to K-Fly. You ain't going nowhere on the island, man. You gonna stay where you at all the way to you. And unfortunately for you, my nigga, you fighting nobody. They're not gonna give you a bail no matter what for a murder. They're gonna end up trying to get you to cop out to a man 1, man 2, which means your minimum is gonna be like 15 to 20 years, flat cop out, 25 flat cop out. If you go to trial, you automatically get an L at the end because you're fighting a murder. I ain't no lawyer, but I know enough about that shit. You feel me? And I know a lot about it. I ain't no lawyer, like I said, but trust me, I know about these charges and how they charge you. And if he has a criminal record, there could be more. I'm assuming that this man does not have no felony convictions. If he has no felony convictions, then that's basically the numbers that he's facing for a cop out. And like other people been saying, like I've been saying, you know, on YouTube, yeah, when sun go up top, it's gonna be a different story. But that's for everybody, man. When you go up top and you doing type of numbers, and you done murdered somebody that's affiliated with another organization, supposedly murdered another individual that is part of that organization, another organization, it's gonna go down. Everywhere you at is gonna be some shit. But like I said, turn up, or you know, you could just try to ride the PC wave as long as you can. All that staying to yourself, being quiet is over. That option is gone because you're already gang affiliated. Now, if you are somebody that's in prison and you're not a K-Flock that's already gang affiliated, the number one rule is do not get gang affiliated. At least in New York State. I know in Cali they got a different set of rules. In New York, nigga, you don't have to gang bang to survive. You don't have to. You really don't. You may be affiliated by association, dependent on who you rock with and how hard you rock with them. But at the end of the day, you don't have to be affiliated in New York and survive. You can do it. I know plenty of dudes is doing it. My son Cito's doing it his whole big. Salute to my son Cito. Coming home soon. Salute to Queens. That's JQ. My son Chris was doing it his whole big. My son Jonathan. I got the list goes on. There's plenty of dudes that I know is neutral. That means not affiliated. And they living right. So that's another option. You feel me? But that's New York. Like I said, Cali is a different set of rules, man. The gang are more deeply rooted like trees. The gang culture is more deeply rooted like trees in Cali versus New York City, in my humble opinion. Y'all already know what it is, man. Holla at your twin. Boom, boom, boom. Like, share, subscribe, niggas.